اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عني. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في دين ودنيا وأهل مالي. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك وأغننا بفضلك من سواك. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب الميزان واحشرنا مع المتقين مع الإمام. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. How do you want the microphone for the ladies?
Yeah, I think the ladies are starting.
One is there. One audience.
Yeah, so the brother up here and I will switch off.
करीब है जी हो गया 15 मिनट करीब है जी इंशाल्लाह मिलेंगे अल्लाह
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So I guess the guys are going to have to use this one up.
I'll try to be like loud, but I think live streaming, like if I do that, that's yeah, so it's fine.
Do you guys want to try using it to see
Sorry.
It's working.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, it's better.
So welcome everyone. Thank you so much, and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us tonight in person and through live stream. My name is Rida Hassan, and I'm thrilled to be one of your hosts for what we hope will be a truly enriching and inspiring evening. We are so excited to launch a brand new initiative here at AMCO called Career Community Connects. And the vision behind this is simple yet powerful. We want to create a platform within our masjid where knowledge, experience, and wisdom within our masjid between generations, professions, etc. In today's rapidly evolving world, career paths can seem very daunting. So we believe that connecting with those who have walked similar journeys, we can gain valuable insights, mentorship, and build a stronger, more supportive professional community within our community. Each session that we have further on, inshallah, with our Career Community Connects, we'll talk about a different topic, and today's topic we'll be talking about technology particularly. We are incredibly fortunate to have a distinguished panel of professionals with us tonight, each bringing a wealth of experience from various facets of the tech world. Now I will be passing it off to Brother Athar, who will be co-moderating with me today to introduce himself and then to introduce our esteemed panelists.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, Jazakallah khair to the AMCO management and Sister Rida who came up with this initiative. Alhamdulillah. So, you all know me. My name is Muhammad Athar, and I come from the background of power electronics. I work for a manufacturing company. Then I came into IT. It's been 5 years. I'm working as a Workday admin or Workday consultant for HR support. So let me introduce our panelists. We have 4 panelists. Brother Sayyid Tawqir Ali, and he's currently working as a SAP FICO architect for a company named Aptargy, and he have a very sound experience of 25 years in IT, and that includes 16 years in SAP. So his key expertise are like SAP certified experience in implementation, customizing, configuration, enhancement, and production support for FICO module from scoping to go live phase, including post implementation support. And we have second panelist, Brother Tawsif Muhammad. He's working as AVP cybersecurity, and he's working for Zurich Insurance for 20 years, mashallah. And his specialization and key expertise are cybersecurity, software development, UX and UI design, data analytics, product management, mashallah. And we have our sisters, Sister Bilkis Adishoko. She is an IT security engineer working for Kinetic Edge Consulting for 15 years. And her specialization, she is in cyber security. And we have our sister Zeba Hassan. She is a customer engineer in data analytics. She's currently working for a company, Google, and she has 9 years of experience, and her specialization is in data analytics. And so to begin with, we have 4 segments, and so we'll be asking questions to our panelists, inshallah. They'll be answering our questions, and then later we'll move on to audience. So the first segment is personal paths and technology. So I have a question. So what initially drew you to the field of technology, and how did you take those first steps into your career? So I would like to request if anyone can answer this, like what initially drew you to the field of technology, and how did you take those first steps into your career?
नहमदुहु नस्सली अला रसूलिल करीम अम्मा बाद أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Welcome you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
So as Brother Athar said, the question is what initially drew you to field of technology and how did you take those first steps in your, for as far as my career goes, I did my bachelor's in commerce, the accounting side, and then I move on to master's degree in computer science. Are you able to hear me or not?
You
I
can
think
feel closer.
a little more closer. Okay. Is better now? MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So, as I said, initially the thing is it's very hard to change the non-technology field to technology side. Is evolving day to day. How the technology evolving every day. The new technology came up. So in that period, so for me it was easy because I moved my career from commerce background to masters in computer application. At the time, in the third year of masters in computer applications, I had a project to submit that was in programming language. So first time I started learning how to program. So at that time the project was in defense project back in India. It was in one of the, I can say it's a big company in India. It's called ECIL, Electronic Corporation of India Limited. It was government. They usually get all the government projects. So at that time, I got a chance to work on defense project. At that project, I learned a lot. So initially, it was very hard because my background was commerce. Then I moved to in the masters in computer application at the masters when I was doing. So the first project, it was very hard for me because I was not having any knowledge about programming at the time, and even I don't know how to write any code. So at that time I have to do a lot of hard work and keep learning. So steps means definitely the technology field is evolving day by day. You can see so many changes coming up into that. So at that point, it was like C programming. The project was in C. I think most of you already knew it. What is C language? So at that time, it's an object-oriented C. It's a Microsoft C at that time. So the project was from defense. So it was called the probe. Maybe most of you knew it. The probe means in defense, what they do, there was some kind of object they create, and once you launch that object into the water, so it goes up to some depth, let's say 100 meter or whatever the range. So it will give us the temperature on that particular depth. So that was the project basically. So that project was in C. So at that moment I started learning the code, how to write code. Since then, even though that was not enough for me, so I can say I have enough knowledge for programming, So after I've done that 6 months project, Alhamdulillah, I just got like 98% marks on the master's degree because of that project. After that, I have most of the time, the best way to learn is with your friends. I think your peers. Right, your peers or maybe your good friends. So I usually have very, few friends, but those friends were in, the background was educational background, and used to learn from them. So at that time, one of my good friend, he was, he was grew in kind of programming at that time in the college. So he started small, projects at that time. So I involved in those projects. By that, I keep learning what will be the, practical way, the real life projects. So in that way, I started my career. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. Now I'm, in a good position, I can say, in SAP with, keep learning is the best way I can say, but you'll get the experience by your job. When you get a job in the real life, you get, gradually you get the experience. So don't think about what do you say, your perfectness. Instead of perfectness, I can say learning path is a good one. So always learn something new, and gradually when goes on, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, at least after 5 years of any experience project, then you come to know that I can do something for the market in the outside world, not for the just the programming what we usually do in practice at home or maybe in institute. So that's what I can say. The good is always try your best to learn practically. So I think this is the good answer. Or I hope so.
So I can add a little bit onto that. So similarly, my path to technology or being in tech wasn't really linear. I graduated from DePaul, majored in accounting and MIS, which is completely outside of any of the work that I do today. But I started off at KPMG in their strategy and M&A group, and something that I noticed was a lot of the work that we did was very dependent on people with more technical skills, right? So people were using SQL, people were using Python, and actually going into the data and using more of those technical skills before we could even get a shot at putting together decks or doing any of the M&A work. So for me, I saw that as this is a really powerful skill set to have. There's a lot of demand for people with these skills. So that's what really drew me into the field of technology, and that's why I kind of went forward in learning those things myself. So again, my background wasn't in anything tech related. While I was working or even during internships, I started training myself on things like SQL or things like Tableau, some of the more common tools that we see today. So trained myself on a lot of those things, and really just got my foot in the door for those skill sets. And when I tried getting other internships or jobs, I really just changed the story around on what my background is. Yes, I come from more of a business background, but I learned these skills and I'm able to connect the dots between more business users and technical users. So really, yeah, the reason why I got interested in tech is just seeing how important it was, how many people were building skill sets on this, and how dependent people were on these skills. So realized that I needed to learn these to move forward in my career.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I don't have a background in IT as well, so my college degree was totally far removed from technology. But as an immigrant in 2011, I moved to America and I got odd jobs. But I wasn't satisfied because back when I was in Nigeria, I was really what you call someone that was very ambitious. I was everywhere. I was implementing a lot of things. So I was challenged by my current situation at the time. There had to be something in America that I could do. And there has to be what you call, at the risk of sounding like focused on financial gains, it was motivation for me. The financial benefit of getting into IT, I'm like, who are these people? How do they? So I started asking questions within my community. And I had friends who were medical doctors back when I used to live in New York before I moved here. And I asked questions, nobody could answer me, but then I went online, I started paying attention, and even the algorithm you have today on social media worked back then, because when you start searching for something, if you're lucky, you start seeing similar stuff. Then there was a pattern with my brothers from Asia, the Indians. There was a pattern, like I could train you, I could do this, I could do that. Well, I don't have IT experience, so I jumped on one that I felt was going to be something I could thrive in based on the simple explanation by the trainer at the time. I took a shot at it, and lo and behold, something worked in my favor. Being a female, being a minority, in code African American. At the time, I didn't have my citizenship, of course. But that worked in my favor because when I went and interviewed with the top 8 consulting company in America, their corporativity, it was my charisma. My director at the time said, I know you don't know a lot of stuff, but I just liked the way you felt you could attack any issue. And I trusted that. I worked with that company for about 2.5 years. And that led to where I am today. So no IT background, but I jumped in. I took a moment to say, no, I can do this. And I had someone who invested their time in training me. And those opportunities are still here today. Like, you want someone to train you in a skill, but you hope that some company believe enough in you to say, oh, we can see through you don't know enough, but we will hire you. And then once you get in, you start being you start upskilling. And it's been about I got here in 2011. I started my IT career in 2014. But of course, I would claim those IT other background because of the things I did prior. So I tend to say, because I helped people too in my community to do various stuff. And those were things that helped me to get the job. And since then, I've worked with Google as well, not directly, but as a contractor through Deloitte. I worked with Deloitte, I worked with Capgemini, and these were big tech firms as well. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hopefully my voice is audible. And is it better? Okay. So I think one of the reasons why all 4 of us are here, it's not about us, it's about all of you, right? So before I start, there's a very brief question I'm going to ask. And again, there's nothing wrong, there's no right or wrong answer. I just wanted to get a gauge of how many of you are currently in information technology field? If you can just raise your hands. Okay. It's okay. If you're not, that's perfectly okay.
It has to be like a little bit related, or?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as you have worked in some form or shape in information technology, that's what I'm trying to gauge. So I think, Brother Tohir shared his journey, and so did Sister Zeba and Sister Bilkis. Unfortunately, my journey is not that interesting, so I'll try to keep it short. But there is one thing I believe in, which I think is very much important in today's day and age. We have to be realistic. People can be optimistic, right? Given the job market where we are in today, we have to be realistic. And the only reason I say that is because we had a similar situation. If some of you were there, back in 2000 and then 2008, where there was a similar situation where we were in, where the economy wasn't doing that great, right? So there were a lot of jobs, people that were laid off, people switched, technologies. So that's when I was with a company by name TravelClick back in 2002. I had just moved to Chicago from Connecticut, and I had done my master's in business administration, specializing in corporate finance, and I was looking for a job. And guess what? It was the toughest time to be here, because there was a lot of layoffs, mass layoffs, and all of my friends were in IT. They went to the graduate school, they did their master's in computer science, right? And I never wanted to be in IT. I just hated IT, right? That's how my journey started. And then back then I came in, and there was a small company in Schaumburg by name TravelClick, and I got into that company in their area, which was more in revenue management, not related to IT. But somehow, the individual over there who was heading product development for financial systems said, I think you can do well if you move on to product development, software product development. That's how I started my journey. So I never had any formal schooling in any programming language per se. So that's how I started my journey. And then fast forward, right now I'm working with Zurich Insurance. I've been with them for the last 14 years. I'll be completing 15th year this year. And prior to that, I was with JP Morgan Chase for about 8 years. So I've spent time in different areas, on the business side of the house, on the technology side, on the underwriting side, and then claims side, and then cybersecurity for the last 6 years. So one thing that I would say would be really helpful for everyone is definitely, you have to pursue your interest. That is the first thing I always encourage everyone is don't go by because this job will pay you well. Don't go by that notion. Go by what your interest is in. If you do well in your area of expertise, you will make money. And the second thing is don't lose hope, especially in this situation where we are in currently. Sometimes you may have to apply for jobs a lot more than what you might have applied for in the past, and you might have gotten a job very quickly. And the only reason I say that is because I run into a lot of my colleagues who are very well experienced, who have worked for Amazon, who have worked for Google, who have worked for product companies, and they have worked for big financial institutions, who have had really good jobs for the last 20 years, 25 years, but they have been without a job for the last year or year and a half. And it's been very tough for them. I think the key is perseverance. Have the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when the right moment comes in, you will get your job. But the key is you have to create that niche for yourself. That's the key. So again, we'll go into the details later on. I know I kind of jumped a little bit ahead. But again, I didn't want to bore everyone with my background because again, we all have a different journey and we all learn from each other. But I think the key aspect from from a learning perspective, from my experience was don't give up. If you have interest in an area, just because you're not getting job opportunities, don't give up. I have had those moments back in early 2000, but I never gave up. I continued on that journey, and I think if you continue, you will definitely find a path. And the key is to find that niche that can get you to the job. That's the key, though. And I think with that, I'll probably conclude my introduction.
Jazakallah for that. As Brother Arthur mentioned, again, we're going to have 4 segments. In each segment, there'll be 1 to 2 questions. So the next segment that we have is staying current in rapidly evolving industry and critical skills for success. So the question that I'm going to ask you all is, how do you stay current with new technologies, tools, and trends? And also, if you would like to add into that, what are some soft skills that have been most crucial for your success in the tech world? So suggestions on how to stay current with tools and trends, and then also soft skills, whichever you'd like to address.
Okay. Soft skills are problem management, of course, time management, negotiation skills. Those are very important. We learn that every day with our kids, with our spouses. So I think if you can manage those very well, you will thrive within the IT space. IT space can be very, it can be as challenging as you get home every night and you just don't know what's gonna happen to you the next day at work because you're scared whether you still have your job because of something you did that you thought you didn't do correctly, or because the pressure you get from your managers or directors. So time management is very crucial. Interpersonal relationship, being able to communicate is probably the number one, because if you're not going to meet a set deadline and you go on to your team and you provide like a timeline of when you're going to deliver on that particular aspect or task that they've given to you, you put yourself out there, you're vulnerable, but they see it as an attempt to say, oh, we're going to be running behind. But that's very important. So how do you stay current with new technologies, tools, and trends? LinkedIn. I mean, we are all on social media every day, but sometimes we forget that LinkedIn is a space where you can learn new things on the fly. You don't have to necessarily all the time go into Coursera or the other platforms that offer speedy tracks to you getting certification, or but when you stay glued to LinkedIn, the way we're so obsessed with TikTok and we're obsessed with Instagram. You want to be obsessed with LinkedIn. And because every day you open the app, there's something new that's relevant to the industry that you're in, and your connections that they're sharing that will help you. It will go a long way for you as a learning, platform. So I would say LinkedIn is very crucial. There are other tools right there, but please be mindful of LinkedIn for sure. It would open a lot of opportunities for you to get in other tools that will help you towards your goals. Thank you.
I'd say for me, in terms of staying current with new technologies and trends, I think it's becoming more and more difficult to do that. There's so many changes happening, especially when it comes to AI, all the Gen AI trends, all the new models coming up. What I have to do in my role today is explain to my customers, people using Google Cloud, what are tools, technologies, what the new AI models do. And it's tough because I feel like every week we get our own internal messages on a new update to these things. So I have to constantly stay updated on these new models, new tools that we have, because now I have to explain it to our users on how to use it. So I think in terms of how I stay updated, I go into the systems and I test things out, I play with it. So I go into the Google Cloud Console, AWS, Azure, whatever it is, I go into those consoles and just play around with those tools, technologies that we have. If you're a student, I know Google does offer free student memberships, free tiers. If you're not a student, there's free tiers. So you can go in and just play around with these tools, technologies. There's instructions on how to learn all of these things. So in terms of staying current, I'd say just go into the systems and play with it yourself. Reading about it only does so much. Actually going in and playing with it, you'll understand and learn things so much more. So definitely go in and learn for yourself. There's a ton of certifications out there that you can take to stay updated and to show other people, and show on LinkedIn as well that you know what you're talking about, you have experience with these things. So do that. The other thing I tell a lot of students is if you don't have a background or don't have projects to work on, go on GitHub. There's a ton of repos on there where people are actually putting their code and showing you exactly how they built certain tools or certain programs that they're building, right? So go on there, learn what they're doing, and recreate it yourself. And I think that's a great learning opportunity just to play with things if you don't have your own project to work on. So I guess staying current, play with things. In terms of soft skills, I think that's super important. Technology skills is only half of it. You have to have the soft skills. So if you go into an interview and you could be the best in your class, best at coding, but if you don't have those soft skills, they won't want to hire you because they're going to have to be working with you day in, day out, right? So it's painful for them to have to sit around and work with someone that isn't pleasant to be with, right? So have those soft skills, know how to communicate, know how to actually interact with people, have those social cues. That's just as important as the technology skills, I'd say. So yeah, learning how to communicate no matter who you're talking to. It could be like a leader, a VP, CEO, C-suite. It could be a developer, business users. So just learning how to communicate across all of those different skill sets will take you a long way, I'd say.
Thank you. I think the topic is around about staying current in rapidly evolving industry, critical skills for success. Like how do we stay current with new technologies, tools and trends? And what's your approach, continue learning? So I can say this is depend upon your background, first of all. See, in every background, for example, I was in commerce background, then I moved to computer science background, then from programming to, because I started my career in Oracle. If you heard that Oracle name, that was the programming in SQL, and then PLSQL, like programming language to SQL, and plus then I moved afterwards to actually graphic designing of forms, reports for the programming. That is also come under Oracle programming. Then I got a chance to work for the DBA stuff. So it means why I'm saying all these things is, see, compared to the 2 decades ago, and now it's totally changed. The reason is now most of the employers, they were expecting more compared to 1 decade or 2 decades ago. Only one thing, if you knew it, you get a job. For example, let's say in SAP career, or maybe first I will take for Oracle. In Oracle, there are certain areas, like let's say programming is different, DBA is different, right? And the data management is different, and different platforms. So only even in the DBA, certain one thing, data cloning. I will give you one example. Data cloning is one part of the DBA. DBA can do so many things. DBA means they have to maintain the whole database. To maintain the whole database, there are certain things they have to perform to do the everyday. But only one thing for data cloning, the copying the data. If someone knows how to do the data cloning, they will get the job in Oracle Corporation. One of my friend, he was working there for more than 25 years. His job only to data clone. Since then he joined. So now those who are new hires, they were expecting not even one thing. They expect you, a candidate, should have all the different objects or different technologies in DBA. So then plus DBA plus security. So things are really changing in evolving technology, as I said. So we have to always update our skills, no matter what, whether you are in any background. For example, somebody has in commerce background, somebody's technology for Oracle or SAP or JD Edward or so on. So there should be a new tools is coming up in the market. You have to update those. Take the courses and try to upgrade your skills. So that's the only thing. And sure, as I said, when you when in the market hunting for a job, in your resume you have to have all the different tools and technologies all mentioned. Otherwise, nobody even you will not get even call from them. So the trend is totally changed now. It's not like 1 decade, 2 decade, only one thing. If you know well, you'll get a job. So this is totally changed. As Mr. Zeba said, now there are so many different ways you can learn the skill. One is I can say the community events, and plus you have to have social media like LinkedIn is the best one, I can say. You can you can have so many persons when you have socialize activities and that. So you can learn through LinkedIn or maybe Udemy. Nowadays, I think there are a lot of courses in a cheap price. So you can learn that one, but it doesn't mean that by taking one course you will get the perfectness. No, perfectness comes along with your job experience. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you will be perfect if you see but at least it will help you to get a job. Okay, so I can say that you have to keep update yourself, whether it could be, and the one thing I just realized that whether you could be programmer, whether you could be some kind of project manager or any skills, Microsoft Office, that is must. I think everyone should have that knowledge, whether whatever irrelevant of your background, but these are the small skills. At least start with that. But what happened, one of the project, I was in Florida at that time. I was a consultant in SAP, but when there is a small group of people, they were doing all the presentations and all and other things. To be honest, one of the girls, she has very soft skills very well, and she used to create so many presentations and solve everything. At that time, she was temporary, but now she got hired as a permanent because of her soft skills. So one of the example for this, but make sure that keep update your skill all the time. That's all. Yes.
So there is not a single answer, that will probably suffice or meet everybody's requirement, right? Because everybody comes in from different diverse backgrounds. And when we talk about freshers, like students, if you want to stay up to date with technology, what I did when I first got my job and got into the new areas that I've traversed across in my career, one of the best ways to stay current is to stay on top of things on the job training. What I mean by that is, just as an example, let's say if I'm working as a financial analyst, right? And then we are using a particular software for entering the data and maintaining the accounting, any accounting software. So stay on top of it. Use your job as a way though to learn new features that come out live. Now if there are some new softwares you want to learn, and if they are not there as a part of your current job, you can always talk to your manager, ask for it, and get access to that software and learn it. And if it is for students, again, I think as Sister Zeba said, I think you can always go in. There are a multitude of online sites available where you can learn and do things practically. And I think one of the points that she pointed out, which was really, which is the key, is you have to have when you learn a software, right? Or any, for that matter, any product, I would say, whether it's a software product, whether it's finance, whether it's product management, whatever the case is, whatever topic you're learning, it's one aspect of it is to learn it, right? The theoretical aspect of it. But how do you practically implement that skill? That is the most important aspect. And that is where a lot of people fall short. And I think as she was mentioning earlier, if she's working, for example, if she's learning something on Azure, which is again Microsoft product for cloud computing, or if she's doing something on AWS, you have to practically test it out, try it out. That's how you learn it, right? Now, in terms of staying current, the other thing that I think is very helpful is you want to, depending on what area you are working in, try to go online and find out some forums, right, where like-minded people are there and they are sharing information. That's one of the best ways you can improve your skills. And that applies across the board. Doesn't matter whether you are in technology, doesn't matter whether you are in a particular vertical, or whether you are in the medical field, it doesn't matter, right? So you always want to stay connected. And the other piece is making sure that you go ahead and attend some seminars, especially if you're working and if your company allows, go for it, because every company has a budget. Regardless whether you're in IT or you're in non-IT, doesn't matter. Your managers will typically not share this with you. Very few managers do it. And you always have a budget for training. Use that budget, even if it's not related to your field. If you are, let's say, in finance, and if you are interested to move into IT, you can always go and look for trainings. They're not very expensive, and then get that budget approved and go for it. And in terms of soft skills, I would say, based on my experience, that's the number one thing that you have to master. Your technical skills these days are considered secondary based on my experience. What is most important are your soft skills. How do you collaborate with people? That's one of the things that companies look at. Whether you are a fresher, whether you are an experienced professional applying for a job, they want to make sure that you can fit well within the team. That's one of the biggest things that companies and the hiring managers look for. Secondly, how do you react or how do you respond in the time of stress? Because you'll always be presented with situations that can bump up your stress levels though. And that is very common, regardless of what area or field you're in. How do you cooperate? How do you basically manage it out? And communication, I think as one of the panelists said, that is definitely one of the top ones, I would say. Again, as long as you're able to communicate well and you're able to get your message across. And when I say communications, I think there are 3 levels the way I look at it. One is you are able to communicate well with your peers at job. The second is with the managers. The third one is with the executives, if you have interaction. So you should feel at ease when you're talking to people at different levels though. And again, if you are shy and you feel like you have the sense of nervousness when you are trying to do when you're trying to deliver any talk or when you're in meetings, there are avenues available. I'm not sure about Lake in the Hills over here, but there are other suburbs. I'm pretty sure they have it over here. There's something called Toastmasters. Go and join that if you are able to. That will help alleviate your fear. I have seen people who were very scared of public speaking. But now when I talk to them, they have mastered the art of public speaking. So again, like I said, there is no one solution that fits all the problems, and they all depend, it all comes down to what your areas of weaknesses are, or the areas of opportunities where you can hone in your skills. So again, based on my experience, that is what I would say. I think with that we can move on to the next round, I think.
Jazakallah khair to all the panelists, mashallah, that was well explained. On top of that, I have more questions on that questions. But we'll move on to segment 3, and this is where I personally face the challenges, and it's navigating market challenges and opportunities. The question is for individuals currently seeking a role or transitioning into a tech, what are some concrete actionable steps they can take right now to improve their chances beyond just applying for jobs? What about individuals that don't have a traditional computer science background, or any advice on identifying emerging niche or areas within tech that still have high demand and less competition?
So I think all of us here don't really have a traditional tech background in terms of us studying it, so I think we can all speak a little to that. But other than things that a lot of us have mentioned, like taking certification classes or just going online to Udemy courses, Coursera courses, even just learning in the systems themselves, I think one of the biggest things when you are looking for a job or an internship is networking. I think, like others have said, the technical skills are only part of the job, but actually networking, going out, using your soft skills, I think that's so much more crucial. Especially if you're a student, they don't really expect you to have those technical skills yet. So beyond just clicking apply to a bunch of internships or jobs, it's really important for you to get your face out there. Go to recruiting events, go to networking events, and make sure that people know who you are. All of the internships that I had in college, it wasn't based off of my grades or the classes I was taking, any of my technical skills. It was me going to these events and making sure recruiters knew who I was. Like, they recognized my face. So I think that's super, super important for everyone to go out, get out there, and actually be physically present. Especially in today's times, I think everyone's just very used to being online and just applying and talking to people through a screen. It shows that you have a lot more initiative by actually physically going out there and making that conscious effort to let people know that you're interested and you're actually wanting to work at a certain place and use your skills that way. So I think that's one of the biggest things you can do when you are trying to apply to a job in any field, technology, non-technology related. So yeah, I think that's my biggest advice outside of the just building your technical skills pieces.
I'll add to that is mentorship. You have sisters there, you have brothers there, and at the end of this program today, you sit back and ask yourself, okay, I want to get into IT, but what? Oh, okay. I apologize. So my point is that it's crucial you find someone to mentor you as well, because they can guide you quicker than you can possibly guide yourself. You do most of the work because you have to listen to the advising and all of that they are, they're transferring to you. So would identify someone within the community. Yeah, at AMCO, I believe a lot of us have communities for women, for men hanging out to go play golf. Find people, ask questions that I'm trying to get into this field. What brother or sister would be able to support me in this journey? Now there are 4 of us. You could pick one of us as a mentor. Now, you're not stressing anyone because we also like to give back. Anyone in a certain position would always want to give back in some way. So it gives us joy that you're reaching out. So when you get mentored by someone, you are probably going to also get lucky to do what you call shoulder surfing if they are willing to provide that support to you. And especially in the areas of data analytics, for example, and you've studied, you've done everything, but you have Sister Azan here, yeah, you have Sister Reba saying, oh, I'm your mentor, but yeah, come on over, I have something on my desktop that's not company related that I can show you. So when you show yourself to see what she has implemented, and you go home and go recreate that, that becomes part of a portfolio for you to claim when you, like, you'll be proud to claim that because you did it yourself with the support of your mentor. Now you can use that as an experience to recruiters to say, oh, I did this, or here's my website for technical skills. For those of us that may, because there are different ways to look at this. You have like those developers, software engineers, and groups like that. You also have skills like identity and access management. You have skills like privilege and access management. You have, these are within cybersecurity space. But you pick one of them and you say you want to learn it. There are applications that you will be able to also get for free, the free tiers. Or you can speak to someone in the community and see if they can get that for you. If they can sponsor it, or maybe AMCO could do that as well. Or, you know, so basically find a mentor that will guide you really seamlessly and perfectly well for where you're going in your journey.
And just to quickly add to that, I think the mentorship is super important. I remember when I was in college interning at a place, I did not know how to code anything at all, but there was an uncle over here at AMCO before we had this masjid set up, and I know he worked in technology. He was a great coder, and he literally would hop on like a Google Meet, you know, just video call and guide me through all of the different steps on what I needed to do to get my code working for my internship. So I really appreciate the help that he was able to provide me back in the day, and I know all of us here, other people in the community, would be more than willing to help all of you as well. So I think that's something us as a Muslim community, we need to do a better job at. A lot of other communities do a great job at, you know, helping lift each other up. I think we just need to push that effort forward and make sure that everyone knows that we're all here to help support one another. No one's competing against each other here. Don't be shy about reaching out to people, asking for help, asking for mentorship, because that's what we're all here for, making sure our Muslim community can rise up at the end of the day as well.
Jazakallah, sister. MashaAllah, the topic was, I think, navigating market challenges and opportunities. That question for individual currently seeking a role or transitioning into tech. What are some concrete, actionable steps they can take right now to improve their chances beyond just applying for a job? This is a very good question, and I will give you for a real life example for myself. For example, I moved my career from totally one field to another field. Back in 2008, I was in Oracle till 2008. From 2008 ending, I gradually changed my career in SAP. That's a huge decision, to be honest. So why that decision came in my mind is, it was decent pay. So at that time, in 2008, before that, Oracle not paying much. SAP has good pay at that time. I don't know, maybe today, Oracle also paying the same as SAP, hopefully. But at that time, no. So I had some friends, they told me, you know, it's very easy, you can, already you are in technology, why don't you move, your career from Oracle to SAP. But it was a very big challenge for me because I was doing all development and DBA job in Oracle, whereas in SAP it has functional background, functional or techno-functional. So if you heard that techno-functional means tech, you have to have the technology like programming or some kind of technology, plus you have to have functional knowledge. So what do you mean functional knowledge? Functional means you should understand the processes of the different areas, that is called. And particularly in finance, because my background was in finance, graduation as I mentioned, I did my graduation in commerce, accounting, and then I moved to computer science, in masters in computer science. So that really helped me a lot by moving the career. Initially it was so difficult, and after 2 years learning, at the same time how we can seeking a role for transitioning into tech, that was very, very difficult challenge at the time, because I don't even have any knowledge about the functional stuff. I had the knowledge for technical, but in SAP it is a job for techno-functional. So at that time I have to do, keep the job what I was doing in Oracle. At the same time I have to spend some time to learn SAP. It goes on like 1 year almost from 2008 to 2009. 1 year span of that time I learned and try to build my resume. I think at that time I tried to give the resume to the marketer, but he said try to add at least 2-3 years of experience. But at that time I don't even have any experience. But anyhow, otherwise you will not even get the call. I said okay, just put some experience. But at that time your friends or peers, maybe they could help you to say okay, he was working here for 1 year for my company or something. That really helped. Still it was fake, but to be honest, to get a job, so this is the way you have to do. First you have to keep job, whatever, if you want to move higher pay job or something, you have to keep learning. And as soon as you get a chance, you will get a chance at that time. Sometime, don't lose, the hope. Always hope for yourself, you can do it. So definitely you can do it. So at that time, it's very difficult for me to move, because I was in Oracle for 15 years. And then I moved to SAP. Alhamdulillah, right now, 2008, 2009 means almost 15 to 16 years now. Alhamdulillah, I learned with a job, to be honest. Before that, I usually do my, some kind of courses, some kind of mentorship. Some of my friends, they help me a lot. But the thing is, always remember that you have to keep the existing job and try to learn the new technology if you want to move to another one. Or sometime if you don't even have that technology side, your background is totally different than technology. At that time, keep the job whatever you are doing in that way. Let's say some kind of analyst job or whatever, but upskill yourself. You try to learn things and what is currently, and look at the nowadays is a Google, right? When you search for a job, look at the job requirement. That is very important. So based on the job requirement, you have to upskill your all the skills. So most of the skills, they will look at it whenever they search the resume by employer. They looked at the main keywords. If you have those skills, definitely you will get a call. So that kind of thing. So already I think Sister Zeba, she mentioned the soft skill, right? That is important. And mentorship, like internship, maybe she can help in that way. And Brother Tosif, he said about Toastmaster, right? And Toastmaster, I think I heard when I was in Naperville, there was some kind of program they usually schedule for community. So those were lacking for speech, or I think soft skill and other, most of the public speaking courses, right? They usually do. So maybe I can, I'm going to recommend AMCO management. Maybe they can talk to them. We can have one session here for Toastmaster. So that will really help in our community. That really help, and I think, yeah. So apart from there, you have to be, just go through networking is very important, and certifications also very important. That will really help you in any course, whether you can go. So for me, I started career. I moved from Oracle to SAP. At that time, initially, it was hard for me, but I just got a job, junior analyst. From junior analyst, I become an analyst. Then gradually I moved to junior consultant, then consultant job, SAP. After consultant, then senior consultant. Now I am, Alhamdulillah, architect of FICO area. FICO means Finance and Controlling Board, inshallah.
I think all the three panelists have covered majority of the areas that we need to focus on when you're looking in for a job, especially when you're out in the job market. There are two things that I think probably serve as an add-on. One is when you formulate your resume, please do not use a cookie cutter resume. And don't just use that vanilla flavor you apply in for all the jobs. Don't do that. Customize your resume to meet the job requirements. A lot of times you might have done part of what has been requested in the job requirement, but again, it's okay to customize the work you have done to basically tailor it to the needs of what the job is asking from the candidate. So that is one aspect. Make sure you customize your resumes. The second thing, which is very important, is you have to be very clear in terms of what your target is when you're looking for jobs. A lot of times what people do is one day they will send in 10 resumes. For next 1 week, they won't send out resumes at all. You got to be consistent. Consistency is the name of the game. You apply for only one job every day, but you do it wholeheartedly. Make sure you are tailoring your resume to meet the job requirements, and then you make sure your cover letter is good. Again, that's a part of your soft skill, is your writing skills. It is extremely important. I know there are a lot of AI tools available that can help you, formulate your resume based on the job description. It's okay to use it, but again, make sure you verify the information after you've used that AI output and tweak it to what it really needs to be. So those are the advices I think we have in terms of if someone is looking in to apply for jobs and if you're out there in the market, I would say.
Thank you so much for that. Not to be counterproductive to what Brother Tosif said, but even when I was in college, I hear from a lot of people that are applying to many jobs that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I'm putting so much time and energy applying to all of these jobs, and like their process is to like look in detail so much as to the job description and be like, am I passionate about this? And to me, from my perspective, I would blindly apply to everything on LinkedIn that was like easy apply, because it takes like 2 seconds. And I can say I have had at least 2 jobs where I had no clue when I even applied. So when the recruiter would call me and ask me of like, oh, hey, can you come into an interview? I had absolutely no clue who they were, and I had to ask them for the address. And then I looked them up on Google afterwards to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to this company. And then I would look in LinkedIn to see like, oh, when did I apply to this? So not to be counterproductive to what Brother Tosif just said, but I would say if you're trying to get in a lot of applications, please do consider that. So you at least have some opportunity to do that. Don't put too much time and effort into things where you don't even have the job offer in front of you yet. So that's my food for thought. But we're moving into the last segment, the last question that our moderators will have, and then after that we will open up to the floor for Q&A. So this last segment is discussing the role of faith in professional life. So I would like to ask the panelists, how, if at all, has your faith or your identity as a Muslim professional influenced your approach to your work in the tech industry or the choices that you've made in your career path?
Oh, I'll keep this simple, but for me, I feel that when we remove ourselves from certain type of jobs, because how you feel, people may feel about you. There are unique scenarios when you go into the workplace when you start. You're likely to meet someone that just genuinely likes you. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are, or how you dress. So you have to give culture in companies a chance to play it out before you know, okay, you could move. So I've had good experience, to be honest. As a matter of fact, I started my IT career as SAP Governance, Risk and Compliance Senior Consultant. So whenever I hear SAP, I'm like very glad that was how I started my journey. My director supported me as a Muslim because those were moments I needed to really embed myself into Islam. Because one, I was scared I could lose my job. And the only way I knew I could not lose my job if I stick close to Allah. So my director, I would travel as a consultant to various states. Every week we're going to different states sometimes, or you stick to a different state at a time. Like when you work with Deloitte, like I said, Capgemini, my first company, Protiviti, we would travel a lot to clients into their local site. And I would want to say my prayers. And so I had the opportunity that the people I worked with really embraced that for me. So it didn't matter what I was doing, for the most part, they would allow me. So that kind of built me up to be more confident everywhere I've been since then. I am open about my faith. I don't go in the workplace to discuss Islam. I mean, maybe I should, but I don't, because it's a work environment. You don't want to do that. But I am not ashamed to say it, because I've seen that with my confidence, people have accepted that. So you can't really just remove yourself from your faith all the time. You should be confident about it so that people would have the opportunity to embrace it with you. Because some people are just plain clueless. So it is the way your character sometimes are also match up to how sometimes people treat you. We know the odds are stacked against us sometimes, but again, give people a chance. Don't look into everybody being the bad egg or being that. I don't want to say too much on that, but that's about it. So my faith, I don't run from it. I've embraced it, and I've seen people around me in the different jobs I had. They've also embraced with me. So I've been fortunate with that.
I think for me, I've had a few different experiences. So like I said, I started my career at the Big Four at KPMG, and I was in the strategy M&A group. Work culture there was very different than what it is at Google today. So when I was at KPMG, I was averaging like 80, 90 hours a week. It was very high stress work. I didn't sleep much, and at some point I just really had to I really just had to figure out a mind switch over here. So I realized, I'm not healthy. I'm constantly sick because I'm working all the time. This isn't good for me in the long run. So for me, what really stuck out was faith. At the end of the day, not to get, dramatic over here, but I realized at the end of my life, what is going to matter at the end of the day? Me working on a ton of different projects, climbing up the corporate ladder, or me, who I am as a person, how I'm, viewed in front of Allah at the end of the day, how I am in terms of being a good Muslim. And to me, that mattered more than climbing the corporate ladder and working the 80, 90 hours a week just to get a compliment from a manager or get promoted. So I think that really forced me to make a mind shift and realize, faith plays a much larger role in my life and should play a much larger role in my life than it currently is with me having to work 24/7. So after I realized that, I ended up moving from KPMG, moving to a smaller consulting company, Salam Consulting, where I was able to actually be around people who valued life. There were a lot of other Muslims at the company too, so we held a lot of sessions for non-Muslims to teach them what Islam is like. We had Islamophobia sessions too, so that people could get educated on what Islamophobia is, making sure that they knew, like, hey, you have a bunch of Muslim coworkers, and your idea of what Muslims are in the media isn't exactly, how we are in actual life. The portrayal of Muslims is very different than what it is. So I was able to have very different experiences at both of those companies. At Google today, much larger company, lots of Muslims around, and I really appreciate the community, because especially in today's time with all the things happening around the world today, I think we've all banded together to try making whatever impact we can at Google as a whole. I know there's a lot of corporate companies, a lot of tech companies who are in the news today with support on things that, we don't think that they should be supporting. So my faith has played a big role in the people that I interact with outside of my daily work duties, and making sure that we can make some sort of impact at the company as a Muslim as a whole. So I think our faith has really just helped me align on what matters most to me in my life, and making sure I can put time into that through work in small ways as well. So that's really where I'm at.
So I think faith goes hand in hand with work, right? One of the things that faith does is it helps us stay grounded, especially when we are in the time of crisis though. It helps us stay grounded, stay calm. So that is one thing I would say is, like as one of the sisters said, you never shy away from sharing your identity. We are Muslims and we should be proud of it. There's nothing wrong with that. And the second thing is, in terms of, how do we accommodate for our prayer schedules, right? We have to pray 5 days a week. A lot of times, especially in winters, we have our Zohar, Asr and Maghrib at offices. So about 14 years back when I started with Zurich, I think we were probably 1 or 2 Muslim that were there, that I knew of in our office in Schaumburg. Today we have a workforce of roughly about 30 Muslim brothers and sisters which has grown. And so over the period of last 14 years, one of the things that we started doing at the very beginning was we started praying together, like the Zohar Salat and then the Asr. And so it kind of became a habit. And then when we transitioned to a new building, which I believe some of you might have seen, it's right across 90, it's that geometrical shaped building. It says Zurich on it. So over there in the new building, they have a dedicated room now for prayers. So we can go out into the room, we do our salah, we come back, and the managers know that, especially with me, that is the first thing I share when I join any job. I tell them, one, it's Friday, between 1 and 2, I cannot attend any meeting, period. You tell me to work every lunch hour, every day, I'm willing to do that, but Fridays is tough. Unless it's something like that will be a showstopper. Again, there is flexibility because we have 2 Jamaats. You have one that happens between 1 and 2 and then 2 and 3, so you have the flexibility. So they understand that. And then the other thing that we have started in the last 3 years with Zurich is we have started doing Eid lunches. So what we do is, like this year we had about 260 people join us for lunch. It was not a company sponsored event. It was an event that all Muslim brothers and sisters pitched in. We sponsored the event, and the whole idea was to share with them what Eid is about, what Ramadan is about, so that they have an understanding and much more better appreciation of what is done in Ramadan. So again, in our day-to-day life, definitely, I share with them what we do as Muslims. And again, I think one of the key things is, as Sister Zeba said about Islamophobia, yes, people come to me, they ask me questions. I've been there for a long time. They feel comfortable. They are like, I hope you don't get offended, but we want to learn more about this. Sure, definitely, we'll share information with you. Any opportunity that I get, I try to share information, but again, being cautious of the fact that we are going there to work, or not necessarily spread the message of the religion. But again, whenever you get an opportunity, use it to your, leverage that opportunity and share it, is what I would say. And so again, faith and life goes hand in hand. So that is why I think there's a beautiful dua that comes to my mind is, when we make the dua, we say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. So we are saying, we are asking good for the dunya, as well as you're also asking good for the hereafter. So again, they go hand in hand. So one practical piece of advice is, do not shy away from your deen. Try to get closer to the deen, share it where feasible. That is all I would say.
Jazakallah, brother. MashaAllah, already Brother Tawseef and other panel members already mentioned a lot of points. I will not take much time. So nowadays, I think most of the companies, actually, they are already familiar what are, our identity as a Muslim, and for the particular Friday, so they knew the importance of Friday. And what I usually do, block the calendar on the particular timing for Jummah prayer. In that way, they knew it. Because of this, every Friday, this is already blocked. No one can even schedule the meeting on that timing. So that is one thing. And plus, as far as I was working in my Aftar group, their presence is in Europe rather than US. Few people in US, so I didn't even get a chance to meet any other Muslim in that company, apart from some of of the other faith than Muslim. But I usually take off on every Friday. So in that way, I don't feel anything like it. Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, sorry about that. So I think, for as far as in my company, I didn't see any majority of the Muslims, but still, as a Muslim, our duty is to at least you can block the calendar on Friday on so and so timing, so that no one will schedule the meeting on that time. That I can say, and I think most of the point already discussed. without taking any more time, I think, yeah, that's the only thing. So keep our identity and, work. I can say that what I can say in that way is more, honesty is our key. As a Muslim, we have to work as a honestly and get done the job on time. That your identity, and plus sometime, by doing your good work, they can praise you, and I've seen sometimes they will ask you about your religion. Once they like you, and they will start questioning maybe, how your faith and what exactly the Islam is and all. At that time, definitely, if you get a chance, like Brother Tosif said, if you get a chance, you can just share some information. But at the same time, you have to be very careful, because in the company environment is totally different, and you do your best. But the thing is, the main thing, the honesty is the best policy, I can say. Yeah, thank you.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you to all panelists to answering these questions. Now, I don't know about the other states or other towns, but Alhamdulillah, Chicago, I had a really good experience being a Muslim and working in we're working around the people of different faith and different tradition. Alhamdulillah, so far, I was always been allowed to pray Salah whenever I was there. They have also given me a separate room. Just being a single Muslim, working with 200 other people. My manager gave me a separate room, and he always respected me going to Friday prayers. So Alhamdulillah, it was good experience so far. Interesting part now, moving on to the audience. Please, we'll start with our sisters. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Sister Rida will bring a mic to you, please. Come on, ask some questions, please. They are ready to answer. We have 30 minutes for Maghrib, and then we have some snacks, we have tea.
I need the woman or the man. Whoever has a question, feel free to raise your hand.
Brother Habib is having a question.
Alhamdulillah, you're respected for the strength of your conviction, that's for sure, and your work ethics wherever you are. And you mentioned how to convey the message of Islam through your performance and the way you carry yourself. That's fine. As far as the mentorship is concerned, I think that is the most important thing. That is one step, because if you go to the internet, Yani, Abara. Okay, so if you go to the internet, YouTube or wherever, there is a plethora of information out there. There's a whole world out there. So it's very embarrassing what to pick, what not to pick. So mentorship really helps. So my suggestion, I don't know how practical it is, that in your field of endeavor, each one of you, or the different fields of endeavor, if you can put up a list, an Excel worksheet, free resources, and in an ascending manner, stepwise.
Inshallah.
So if that may help.
Yeah, we'll take that advice, inshallah, and definitely we'll work on that. And inshallah, other than that, like, a brother have a question, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum everyone.
Right.
So my name is Muhammad Ali and I work at JP Morgan. So I work in a semi-IT role. So I'm trying to make a breakthrough in IT. So I have a lot of questions, by the way. So okay, I'll start with Sister Zeba. You were right about GitHub, because me along with my friends, we are doing some projects in that. Okay, I have something to share.
The question.
So, yeah, I have something to share. So after that, I'm going to ask the question if I'm allowed to. Okay, so there was a role in my company which I referred to my friend, and fortunately, mashallah, he got the job. So is there any referrals that are we gonna get for today? Any referrals from the panelists?
Yeah, inshallah, we'll talk with while we are eating, having snacks. Definitely, we can help you out with that, inshallah.
Okay.
But I have a question for our panelists. So, the communication part, even I face those challenges. So when we are applying for a job, and then we are not getting any answers, we are not getting any responses back. Even though when we get responses, it's very hard to answer those questions because of the nervousness or because of the requirement they have, sometimes. So how do we communicate? Like, do you have any example, what are the basic steps, not the basic steps, but what are the steps that we can rightfully handle that interview? Try to answer the questions, even though you don't have answers for that particular question. But how can we, when we are in the interview, how can we try to answer those questions?
So, can you all hear me? Okay, so I think one of the biggest things that I like to tell people, and I use myself, is Gemini and ChatGPT, they're all huge right now. What I like to do is I'll throw my resume in there, I'll throw in copy and paste a job description and put the link in there, and ask Gemini, hey, I'm interviewing for this position, what are some common questions and sample answers you can give me based off of my experience? So it'll literally throw out a bunch of different questions that I could possibly get and answers based off of my resume that I can answer it. So even if you don't have a direct experience to that question, you can spin anything around that you can have experience in.
Don't feel shy, put it on your head.
So yeah, throw the job description, your resume into Gemini, and basically use that as your tool, your interview help tool, and ask it, hey, what are some common questions? What are some sample answers that I can answer those questions with based off of my experience? And it's such a useful tool. I've used it myself. I know other people have, and even if you don't have, like I was saying, direct experience for that specific question, you can spin some of your experiences around to help answering that question. Or just say, if I were in a situation like this, because you may not have been, this is how I would handle it. So use your resources. I use Gemini all the time in my daily work today. It's a resource you have, so utilize it, whether you're interviewing or just on the job.
Or ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, we Google.
Yeah, ChatGPT, Gemini.
I quote that.
Dr. Khan Saab is having a question.
Oh, there's actually one question right here. First.
Assalamu alaikum. I just had a quick question. I'm going to college right now, so I just had the question, what steps should I take to get into IT? What are the first steps I should take?
It's a good question. Yes,
So, brother, if I may just counter you with a follow-up question, are you pursuing a major in information technology right now, and in bachelor's, or?
I'm going to associates right now.
Okay.
I'm just
okay. So again, depending on what your area of interest is in IT is pretty, vast, and so you can get into networking, you can get into infrastructure side of the house, software development, you can get to data management, cybersecurity. There are multiple options, right? So depending on where your area of interest is, first of all, what I would suggest is try and find out from your advisor what are the courses offered in the stream of computer science in your college, right? And then accordingly see if those will kind of get you to the path that you're looking for. That is step one. Step two is, as I think one of the panelists mentioned earlier, the certifications, right? Whether they are Amazon Web Services certification, AWS, or whether it's Azure or Google, a lot of them are available at very low cost or no cost. So you can pursue those while you're pursuing your regular education in parallel. So that kind of gets you a hands-on experience, and you're able to do some projects as well. So those are the two pieces of advice I have, and the most important of all is depending on your area of interest. As I said, for example, if you wanted to get into, say, into SAP, for instance, right? Choose a mentor. You have a mentor over here. Choose him. Try to have sessions with him. Whatever area of interest you have those sessions with the mentors. So you'll be surprised, after spending about 25 plus years in the industry, I still have mentors that I go back to even today. So this is something that I recommend to everyone. You should always have a mentor in your life, because that will always be helpful. They'll be able to guide you through the path. And I think one question, I think if I understood you correctly, that you had, Brother Athar, was if you are you are sitting in an interview and they ask you a question, and you know the answer but you're not able to answer it.
Especially it happens with the people who are very honest and then they just
Correct.
go blank.
So again, I'll try to put it from both perspectives. One is from a deen perspective also. You don't have to absolutely say a no right away. If you know parts of it, you can say, yes, I know parts of it, and be honest about that. It's about looking at a situation, though. You can look at the glass as half full or half empty. I always prefer to look at it as half full, because then you are sharing some information which is related to the job. It may not be the perfect answer, but the very fact that you took that opportunity and you basically tried to convert that into a meaningful conversation with your recruiter or with your hiring manager actually is a very positive sign. Because the moment you say, well, I never worked on it, even though you might have worked a little bit on it, that kind of turns off your hiring manager. They are like, this person doesn't have that initiative though. So, and I think the brother who was from JP Morgan, I think you work with JP Morgan, you said, right? Are you in downtown or Elgin? Elgin. Okay. So I've spent quite some time with them in the past. So it's one of the best companies, I would say, if you are trying to do a lateral move. They encourage it. So you should talk to your manager and see if you can if there is an opportunity and you can do a lateral move. And the last piece of advice I have is for the brothers or sisters who are trying to get into the door of IT or cybersecurity. A lot of companies, including Zurich, every year they have a program that they have tied up with Harper College. It's an associate's program, right? And they pay for your program for 2 years while you're working 30 hours a week at Zurich. They don't pay you a whole lot. They might be paying you maybe $22 to $24 an hour, and you get to work for 30 hours a week. But the best part is they cover your tuition. And they also have a program, I think it's with the University of Phoenix, bachelor's program. So I know there are other companies that offer those similar programs. And if anyone is interested for the apprenticeship program or for internship, the right time to check in with most of the websites is between December and January. For 2026, you need to start looking at by end of November through end of January. You will see a lot of these positions being posted. Again, this is, I think, the program that Zurich has come up with. I know of 2 of the brothers who came in through that program who got inducted full-time into Zurich. They did not pay a dime for their education. It was fully funded by the company. And there was no contract that they had that they have to spend 5 years with the company or 2 years with the company. None of that. And they got a full-time position. So again, try to leverage those, because I'm sure other companies like Sister Zeba works for Google. I'm sure they might have something along those lines. But try to go to your local colleges. Find out, they have a list of companies, local companies, that do support similar programs. So again, that's something I would definitely encourage. Even for people who are shifting, you might have worked in manufacturing for 10 years, right? You want to get into IT now. Go and look for that program. Whether it's associate's program, the bachelor's, you're not losing anything. Worst case, you don't qualify, they say a no, but at least you have given it a shot. And most of the students I know who have applied have gotten into the program. And it's okay even if you get into the business side of the company. Work in for a year or 2, and then you can make a lateral move into the technology side of the house. That's very easy to move. I've done that multiple times with small and big companies. I've done that with JP Morgan Chase. I've done that with Zurich. It's very simple and it's the easiest route. That's all.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for asking questions, and thank you, Sister Zeba, Brother Tausif, for answering my questions. Jazakallah khair. I'll give it to Sister Rida. Oh, Yusuf, yeah, please. Please go ahead and ask a question. Yeah.
Is this on?
Yes.
So, Assalamu alaikum, my name is Yusuf Omar. I just moved here about 7 months ago from Texas. And I've studied computer science at my university. I've had an internship. I've had about 13 projects. I have a portfolio as well. So I've done so much to beef up my resume. I've applied to over 900 jobs. And I've altered my resume for every single job using ChatGPT as well. And I've only gotten about 10 interviews so far. And it's very tough. So my question for you is, what jobs are highest in demand right now in this market?
I can take that.
So, brother, I think your question is very valid. Given the situation we are in, I think that's why I prefaced that at the very beginning when we started this discussion forum, I said job market is very tight at this point.